Welcome to 2 on the 10.
Oh, we back again, baby.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
2 on the 10. I'm Paul.
I'm Mitch.
Greedy Nick.
Greedy.
Tom, what's going on, big dogs?
What's up? What's up? How y'all doing? We back.
Oh, yeah. We definitely gonna get to your weekend and your weekend.
Well, let's start with yours.
Okay, it was low key compared to yours. I went to this little pink rave party on Saturday, and that was it was kind of dope. But the dopest thing was since we just had the first week of football pass, I got to hang out with my son. And then we just did, a whole day of football.
Shout out to Devon, nephew Devon. What's up, D?
Yeah, we started at like 10.
Sunday fun day, huh?
Yeah, started at 10 in the morning.
Where'd you guys go?
Where we go to? What's the Mexican Hooters?
Oh, Ojos Locos.
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
Yeah.
Can we clap that up for Ojos Locos?
I heard the food there is excellent.
Yeah.
That's why everybody goes there.
Yeah, exactly. But now we started over there, watched some games, and then we took it down to Goodwood down in Scottsdale. Hung out down there, and then went over to Riot House, and yeah.
How was Riot House?
It was a little on the young side, but it was cool. We had a good time though. I was just happy to spend some time with my son, so it was worthwhile. So.
And he was probably happy because he's an Eagles fan, right?
Oh man, he's a big time Eagles fan, which is crazy because I grew up watching as Redskins fan. So
You mean the Commanders?
Oh, excuse me. I got to be politically correct now. The Commanders now, and that's all what was talked about. He's a U of A fan because I went to the U, but he loves his Eagles. So
That's what's up, man.
Mm-hmm.
Eagles.
But enough on me, boys. How was Laughlin? Oh, it's just a laugh.
No. Okay, so backdrop. We always talk about Laughlin. People are like, why is these dudes on this podcast talk about this like
Podunk town,
insignificant city?
It's
It's not like we're talking Vegas or Tahoe or Atlantic City or
even Reno.
Yeah, and then the irony of it is Laughlin is literally like an hour and a half from Vegas.
Right.
But the one thing about Laughlin, Nevada, it's on the Colorado River.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, the town is depressed, but it's like a strip, though. It's a strip of casinos on the Colorado River, and we've just had so much history. We talked about it before that we started the trip in 2001, and one of us has at least been, or two of us have been on the trip every single year to this year.
Yeah.
Now, it had been a guys' trip.
Yes.
All the way up to this year.
Mm-hmm.
And a few of the guys that were going in kind of flaked out at the last second, so it was going to be up to me and Nick.
Gotcha.
And so we were kind of discussing, Nick was just coming off his New York trip. I was like, wait until the last second, and stuff. And then, I don't know.
So you broke protocol.
I guess.
Protocol breach.
Hey, I was one of the founding fathers of this trip.
Mitch makes the rules.
But no, so, okay, and this sounds, but yeah, no, so I took my girl on the trip.
There you go.
Took my girl on the trip.
There you go.
He couldn't break his streak of staycations.
No.
Oh, wow.
And he's like, we're almost in Arizona, so that still counts.
There you go. Man, that's fine. And you know what? Laughlin probably needs a new flavor. Like I said, we're getting a little bit older and stuff like that. The reason why I don't go up there no more because, it hurt my feelings because it's I mean, I can get down, but Laughlin, you have to prepare. It's like 2-3 weeks prepare. You got
training. Say your prayers in vitamin.
Yeah, exactly. You got to build up that tolerance. So I know going in that, and now one year it just hurt my feelings, man. I was down for the count. So, but,
also, are you talking about the one year when the gas station when you stepped in the cow shit?
No. I think that was a couple of years before that. But,
okay.
But that's another story we have to talk about.
And we do have to talk about, though, on our trip up to Laughlin, some amazing food at Dazzo's in Wickiup.
Wickiup,
Let's tell about that.
So
Wickiup.
So what's the tastiest thing at Tasty Freeze?
Oh, first of all, yeah. So that used to be the spot was Tasty Freeze in Wickenburg,
Right.
and then we kind of like our luck after about 6 or 8 years of going to that spot kind of changed. They changed ownership like 2 or 3 times. Now it's just called Tasty when you walk by. There wasn't even no cars out there, whatever. So we decided to wait another hour to go to Wickiup, which is just basically a gas town and a speed trap, But on the side, there's this one spot, it's a Chicago hot dogs, Dazzo Dogs, and I'd always looked at it for about every time we went up.
Pass.
I'm like, no one goes there or whatever. And I remember one time a buddy of mine, Brian, mentioned, hey, that place is a trip. The owners are from Chicago, and they look like they're in witness protection. I go, what are you talking about? And I'm all, you walk in, and they got 2 guns on their hips. And I'm like, wow. And then I ask them, you guys moved from Chicago. What made you pick Wiki up to open a restaurant? Right. Are you guys running from somebody? And then they just kind of got all quiet and stuff.
Oh, wow.
And so I'm going to just tell this story.
Yeah,
This is kind of a trippy story.
Okay.
So the owners of the place was this older guy who's very reserved, and his younger son. And his younger son, when I say, he's probably 30s, The older guy's probably 60s, whatever. And he was mean. I thought he was mean, like, hurry up and pay. You want to do this, whatever.
Well, let's just say this. Staunch Republicans.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, he was selling Trump coins and everything,
Trump coins and flags.
But after about 3 years, I heard about the spot. We ate there. And let me just tell you, they have the best Italian beef sandwich in Arizona.
Really?
Yeah. I used to think it was Luke's, or maybe a couple of these other.
Wiki Up.
Yeah, and Wiki.
Or the beef and sauce. Their sausages.
Come on, y'all need to stop.
No. It's amazing, bro. Amazing. And then they also do a good Philly cheesesteak sandwich, a good meatball sandwich, and they do a Chicago dog.
Yeah.
And I'm not even kidding. Like, it smashes Portillo's. And I'm not saying Portillo's is the end all, but I'm saying
don't throw Portillo's.
Just to give you an idea for people that have a reference.
Gotcha.
Portillo's smashes. Smashes Luke's, smashes, a few other spots that we hold high as far as Italian beef. So definitely if you want a good Italian beef or, a sausage or hot dog, go there. But with that said, one day I bonded with the dude because we were talking, we seen this weather report, and I said something, man, they probably manipulated that. Oh, they do. And he turned and looked at me, and he just became like my best friend. He started talking to me about conspiracies, and, we started talking about all this stuff. He actually is the first person that told me about CERN back in the day.
Oh, okay.
He goes, did you know about CERN in Switzerland where they're going to dig to the center of the earth and release all the demons and the evil spirits? I'm like, okay, whatever. Their logo's 666? I go, no, I believe a lot of shit. Or I look it up. So I looked it up in Laughlin. Oh, shit, that is the logo. It has 3 6s. And then our goal is to do this. And then come to find out a few years later, CERN was the people that found the God particle. And, that supposedly might have, changed the world in 2012 when they smashed all the atoms together. Just very interesting. So now I'm going to fast forward, and I know this is a long-winded story, but it's very interesting.
Okay.
So keep in mind, we always thought in the back of our head this dude was, in witness protection.
Okay.
It was about 4 years ago we went in one day, and the son, we met the son, and he goes, did you hear what happened to me on Mother's Day last year? I go, no, what happened? He said their cook came from behind and slit his throat.
What?
Slit his throat during work.
Holy shit.
And
like edge to edge.
Yeah.
The scar on his neck.
And you can still see the scar. Well, I'm finishing the story.
Okay.
Slit his throat. And I go, what'd you do? He goes, I fell to the ground. He goes, cut my artery. He goes, I fell to the ground and tried to hold my artery together.
Okay.
And he goes, I think I'm dying on our restaurant floor.
Right.
And I go, what'd you do? He goes, all I did was pray. And I go, okay. And I'm listening to him. And he goes, they had to air vac me to Vegas. And it took them 45 minutes to get me there.
Right.
It took them 2 hours to get me in surgery.
Okay.
2 hours total. The doctors were looking at me like how I'm alive. They
Right.
put me together, pieced it up, and I was able to live having my artery cut.
Oh, wow. Didn't even bleed out.
Yeah, he said, there was so much blood on the floor, but again.
How did he not bleed out?
And then I go, hold on. I go, what happened? Your dad has the gun. I seen the guns on your guys' hips.
Yeah.
He goes, yeah, my dad switched to an automatic, from our revolvers,
Right.
and he went to draw, and so the guy cut his hand, so chased him, and then the guy ran into the hills or whatever, whatever in the street, outside. Yeah. So, crazy story. If you ever go in there, there's an article on the side that explains the whole thing.
Okay.
And so just had to throw that story out there because that just is so weird. Glad the guy was okay. Rest in peace to the father. He ended up passing away 2 years of COVID, which they said that
Allegedly.
And then didn't the son say that they killed him?
Yeah, the son said he talked to his dad like the day before. I was just in there and I overheard him talking. I was on the way to Vegas, I think, once I stopped in there. And the son was talking to somebody else, and he's like, yeah, my dad, the last time I talked to him was the night before, and he said, if anything happens to me, they killed me. And then I woke up the next morning to a phone call from the doctor saying that he had passed away over the night.
Wow.
So I thought that was pretty crazy.
But the real point of this is that they have great Italian beef
Great
sandwich and a
Italian
good But no, so we had to tell that story. Okay, so now we're talking Laughlin. We go into Laughlin. We've been there every year. It's a guy's trip. We wild out. We do some crazy things. I heard one time somebody stole a police bike from the cops while they were there.
No, we
Allegedly.
Allegedly, right?
Allegedly.
That's allegedly. Yeah,
But,
we can't say any
and
names.
then there's a lot of other stories that are pretty crazy.
First name don't start with an M. Last name don't start with a T.
I don't know who you're talking about. I bought
Michael
the beer.
Thompson, the basketball
I bought the beer at 10:45. So we all went up, like 3 guys, 4 guys, 10, 15, crew of 15. We they start to know you in the town. We have fun. We kind of run amok. We kind of do whatever the fuck we feel like, to be honest. You know,
Right.
I remember one time, true story, I took the velvet ropes because I was so pissy drunk off the front of the Nugget.
You did, and wrapped it around your
Around,
neck.
around my neck. It's dragging to the floor. I walked into bikinis, and the bouncer goes, I can't let you in with that. I go, it's my fucking chain. Oh, go right in, sir. And they let me in. And I don't know how or why.
And that wasn't the worst of things.
No, that wasn't the worst.
I remember at the we're playing craps, I think it was, at the Nugget, and our friends are across the pit playing blackjack, and we're sitting there throwing dollar chips at them. And then we're betting for people that, like, the old man in the wheelchair at the slot machine, like, $5 on the hard way for the old man in the slot machine.
Yeah, $2 for the girl in the perm that looks like Betty White.
And then we'd hit it, and then
They'd have to go give them money
go
up.
and hand it over to the people. Like, these guys just bet for you.
They took us so seriously. We're just fucking around. Like, it was fun. And, you know how we did it. You've been on many of those trips.
Exactly.
And then, of course, we have to go over to the Hideout Bar. I got to say shout out to my boy Star.
Star, is he still there?
Yeah, he's still there.
Yeah?
And in fact, he got, we went back after the club because we heard he was working late. Came over, big ass hug. We known that dude since 2002 and shit. He used to go to the club with us a couple times. And he got to meet my girl, which was cool. And it was cool because I was gonna pick her up. They have this actually dope ass like T-shirts and stuff for these like they like these new trending skulls that are like real popular in LA. These skull characters and stuff. They have them for their bar.
Okay.
And so she's like, man, I want one of those tank tops. I go, we'll come back later because you're not gonna be able to carry it, whatever. And so I said something to Star. I don't remember if she was cold or something. Star goes over and gets her a sweater.
Really?
On me. And he goes, let me give you a ride back to your guys' hotel. I got it. Man, appreciate all the hospitality. So that's the homie. And then I'll just say this though. Real quick, just to back up the trip of why I felt that, we could change the rules. And it wasn't just because I'm above them or nothing like that. It was, we've done just me and Nick before on the trip, and it was fun. One thing about that trip that we love is basically we get away. We answer to nobody.
Right.
We do what we feel like. And when you're with like-minded people that don't have any agendas, you're like, cool, what do you want to do? I don't care. Let's go gamble. Okay, cool. You want to go this? Let's go grab some food. Okay, cool. Let's get ready for the club. Let's go drinking. Let's go make some bets. I mean, nobody's going, no, I don't want to do that. And if they do, no problem. Go to your room and do whatever else, So we always got, the people that always rolled got along and kind of had the same, like, let's go watch the Texas game. Okay, cool. And so me and Nick have done that trip already, me and him. And now we're both in relationships. And so it was like kind of, I've always been the single dude of that trip, or most of the time,
Right, yep.
And so it's a little different in my perspective of, where it is. And that's also where I'm at. And I talked to Nick about it. He felt the same way.
Yeah, and most of those trips, like, the reason I go on the trips is for, like, the camaraderie and being with the boys and hanging out and the gambling. I like to gamble. When you're at home and, yeah, there's casinos here, or even when you go to Vegas, there's so much other stuff going on. So the gambling sometimes, takes a back seat because you're going to this club or you're doing this or you're doing that and going to eat here. And Laughlin, you got limited choices. So one of the main things to do there is to gamble. So I get to sit down. I could play blackjack for, 2 hours, 3 hours if I'm winning. And nobody bothers me about it. Nobody goes, oh, come on, I'm bored. I want to go do something. You can just chill and gamble for a couple hours, have a bunch of drinks, and have a good time. And that's really what it's about for me. It's not about... I've never been there to be the one that's like, hey, I'm trying to holler at girls or I'm trying to do this. It's more about just hanging out with the boys and
But if it happens, it happens.
Oh, of course.
Time,
Whatever happens in Laughlin stays in Laughlin. But
goes on the podcast.
Yeah, but
all the rules are getting broken.
Yeah, but at this point, where me and Mitch are at in life, we got our girls and stuff. It's like it was just a different vibe. Like we're not out there like trying to like entertain things. We're just out there to have a good time and have fun and get away from the everyday hustle and bustle of our regular lives and do something fun and, get a little crazy, get a little drunk and enjoy ourselves. So
I will say this, though. It is very ironic that, the year that we're, relationship trip, and I bring my girl on the trip, we go to Losers. And, of course, that night they have, 2 or 3 bachelorette parties, and the ratio is literally like 8 to 2, or like 80% girls.
I've never seen that. That's
Yeah.
crazy. At Losers Lounge.
We've never seen that.
That's what I'm saying.
So I find it very interesting. And then, of course, it was me, Chris, and you sitting at the table. And, of course, they're sitting at those tables. They come over to our table to dance. You know what I mean? And then I didn't give 2 shits.
The only saving grace is that our women are way more beautiful than the girls that were out on.
Hey, clap that up, Nick. Clap that up.
Way more beautiful and amazing.
There you go.
But I still had to speak on the irony of it because it's like all the single years, where were these, 100 girls and, and dancing in front of the table? I mean, there's a couple of them.
It was like a little temptation they put out there, like, hey. Yeah, you guys got them, but
So where'd you guys eat at?
Okay, yeah. So we talked about Dazzles on the way up, and then I think we both agree one of the favorite spots was Guy Fieri's restaurant up there.
Oh, Guy Fieri has a restaurant
Yeah,
up there, huh?
up in the Harris actually.
Burro Borracho,
Okay.
Mexican food, amazing.
Is it really good?
Really, I don't know why they don't have one in Scottsdale, or maybe they do in one of the casinos. But
I don't know.
Man,
I've never heard of it.
It would kill. It would kill. I'll just say this: some of our favorite things. First of all, they have the specialty margaritas, that were just amazing. Just even the regular chips and salsa were
Yeah, the
amazing.
chips are actually like a little bit thicker and they're super crispy.
And they got like a spice to them
Yeah.
too, and so that was good. But my two things that I get there now, just from this weekend, was the El Pastor quesadilla, and of course the birria tacos. Those two were phenomenal.
Oh, and don't forget the most amazing dessert.
fried
Their fried ice cream. It came out like a bowling ball.
Yeah.
I ordered one, and they're like, "You're not going to share?" I'm like, "Come on, my name is Greedy Nick. I don't share."
Right.
So Mitch is like, "All right, I'll get one." Thing came out. 4 of us could have ate off.
And let's put it this way, my girl was like, "We should probably go the next day and get another fried ice cream."
Oh, was that good? Huh?
Yeah. She was the one saying that. She was like, "We could work out at the gym all week." So yeah, it was that good. It was like just a huge, like you said, almost like literally bigger than a softball, like almost a volleyball fried ice cream. And then with the texture and everything, and then they gave you 3 dipping sauces. They gave you like a chocolate, a strawberry, and a rum sauce.
There you go.
Freaking phenomenal. So yeah, that food was just off the charts.
Did you guys go to the Sunday night spot?
Of course, we did Sawgrass. At the end of the night,
yeah.
we got. I know I did like the fillet with I did the fillet with the crab topping on it and stuff. So it was good. It was good.
Yeah, Laughlin trip isn't nothing without Sawgrass. 'Cause I remember, when we first started, we'd come back Sunday night. That would be a grueling. We'd eat at the Sawgrass, finish that Sunday night game, and then hop back on that.
On them shitty roads with the 2-lane roads back in the day.
That was brutal. That's why we switched it. Coming
That's
back
Monday
on
morning. Yeah, exactly. We had to switch the trip because I remember we were like, bro, the older we get each year, the tougher this ride gets. And I'll tell you, one of these years we're not going to make it back.
Yeah, because we were all falling asleep and stuff like that. It was just crazy.
Even the designated driver, which was Nick a lot of times, was falling asleep.
Fall asleep. Yeah, it was good.
The one thing I will say about this trip though is, man, for a place that's depressed and like even the table games aren't open all the time at some of the casinos. Like the table games are open from like noon to midnight, and it's like, so if you stumble in at 2 a.m, basically all you have is slot machines. But even when the table games are open, there's not a lot of people gambling at some of the casinos. And I know in my experience, I went up to a table and threw some money down to gamble, and it was like I was inconveniencing the guy he was just standing there.
He's still mad about this.
He had to work. And
gave him a 1 star on Yelp.
I would have.
So the customer service was shit.
Customer service was horrible.
Hold on. Where'd you guys stay?
The Trop.
The Tropicana.
Oh, Tropicana. Okay, you still got.
It is owned by Caesars, though, so you would think. But I think now that Caesars took over, it's way more corporate and way more, they're just looking out for the money. So they're like, oh, the little 24-hour diner doesn't do enough business. It's not profitable overnight. Close it down. So it's not open anymore.
I'll even tell you, speaking of service, when me and Chris stepped to the bar at the Harris, when you were at the poker table or whatever, we were watching, I think, the Texas game or whatever, and then we were waiting to go to Guy Fieri's. And so, we go to the bar. So we just decided to go, play poker at the bar or whatever. There's 2 bartenders working this bar, right? It's a round bar, maybe 15 people at the bar. And they're both filling the display beers, which are full, but they're trying to find where to put 1 more beer each, and they're doing this for like 10 minutes. And I'm sitting other people, I'm like starting to get kind of pissed. Like, bro, it's been 10 minutes. You guys are still got your backs turned. You're trying to put 1 beer into the ice that doesn't even fit. It's like they're playing Jenga or, Tetris or whatever. Both of them. And, me and my girl both were bartenders. And we're like, this is fucking ridiculous. Like, it might be depressed. You might not be making the money, but what is your purpose? Like, I'd be out there hustling. Like, I'd be like, okay, cool. Let me go out here, run around. Hey, can I help you? Whatever. These dudes, like, and other customers are laughing because I'm starting to get heated. I'm like, bro, what the fuck? Like, and then finally they do, hey, I had to yell him, hey, I need a drink, bro. Like, straight up, Yeah, okay, well, and then he goes over to Chris, I need to see you play 2 plays, to get him comped or whatever.
Right, yeah.
I'm like, bro, we put the money in, what the fuck? Like, and, he goes, I need to see you play 2 plays real quick. Fuck you. Like, seriously, like I need to see you do something else besides overfill the fucking
I need
display.
to see you serve me a fucking drink.
Oh, exactly, and shut the fuck up. Like, seriously, and it was that bad.
Right. Did you guys make it over to the Nugget?
We did go to the Nugget for a little bit. We did actually do club night. Shout out to Vitali.
Vitali.
Yeah, how was it?
It was okay, but I mean, hey, they hooked us up on a couple bottles. We did the Alizé.
Really?
We did the I was gonna say Alizé. Wow. We did the Absolute Elixir, which I think is one of the best vodkas, especially since Paddington's not around anymore.
Right.
And yeah, so that was good. We did a bottle of champagne, and we actually just chilled there for the night. Considering we were kind of a little burnt. And on top of that, I'll just have to add this. What made for a fun trip is we microdosed too.
Okay, there
We
you
talked
go.
about that last week,
Yeah.
and I'll tell you this: microdose. I did a lot of studying on it, and the person that, the scientist person that I get my stuff from, or allegedly, he was saying that you throw two microdose pills and you drink. He goes, you feel like a god.
Right.
And I mean, it was. I'll say this, no hangover in the morning.
Okay.
Considering how terrible those days are.
they can be bad.
Yeah. No hangover in the morning. Energy, focus, and just a higher mood level.
Yeah, and you just feel chill the whole time.
Chill.
You're drinking, just having a good time.
Yeah.
Even if just sitting there, you're just in a good mood. So,
Just relax out.
Shout out to microdosing.
yes, micro.
Might be my new hobby.
There you go. Sounds like a good little trip.
Yeah, no, it was
good
definitely
little Laughlin trip.
I say it was a good trip. I mean, it was just good vibes, real chill, and
And actually some decent luck at some of the games
yeah.
and the slot machines.
Yeah.
So it wasn't, some of those years you go and it's just like every time you sit down, you
Bust
just
your head wide open.
whatever you drop 300 on the table, you're losing 300 on the table.
Right.
This trip, basically almost every time I sat down, I walked from the table with more than I sat down with. So
yeah. And I'll tell you this: Nick had a feeling on one. We were at the Nugget. We just went to go say what's up to the GM just for the next night to set up bottle service. And then we decided. He goes, "I'm gonna go over to high end slots." I go, "Yeah, I'm going too." And we were kind of buzzing. We got the microdose in. He goes over. He throws in, whatever he throws in, hits for a quick 150 within like 50 seconds.
yeah, like the second spin.
I put 100 in. I do 3 spins. I hit for 800.
Woo! Cash out.
Yeah, cash out real quick.
Both cashed out. All right.
Yeah,
Time to go.
And it was like, okay, cool. We hit them back to back within 1 minute.
There you go.
And it was just cool. And it just it was a chill Friday night. And when you go up Friday night, and we also did okay at the tables, when you leave with money, and with extra money,
Right.
it just makes your day for Saturday and Sunday.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, I will say this. So me and Mitch started playing craps, and we both rolled a couple times, and it wasn't going great. Mitch is like, Mitch got back up. He got to even. He's like, I'm getting out.
I rolled myself back
and
up.
I was probably down
200.
like 100.
I was down
And I'm like,
200.
I'm going to stay. And this other guy came next to me, and he's like,
Pause.
He had a bunch of money. He's like, and he was betting like this and this and this. And Mitch is like, all right, I'm out of here. And he knew all the craps lingo. He was betting things I didn't even know what he was betting. So then I'm like, I'm going to stay. I want to see this guy roll. Well, he passes to me. He's like, I'm not rolling. So it's just me and him. I rolled for like 35 minutes straight.
Really?
Yeah. So they have a bet. You can bet like the 1 to 6 and 7 to 12.
Yep.
Or so you can bet half and half, or you can bet the whole thing. So he bet all 3 of those. I rolled before I hit a 7.
Right.
So or before I even hit my
Hey,
point.
so you crapped at the table?
Before I hit my point, which clears or whatever it clears it out. So once I hit a 7, I guess it clears it out.
Yeah.
So I hit my point and then I hit a 7, but I hit one whole side and I hit 5 of the other 6.
Oh, wow.
And I just needed a two craps to have this guy get paid.
Paid out. Gotcha.
But I kept rolling, and then I hit my point, and then I hit a 7. When you hit 7 and it resets, it clears those all out.
Yeah.
So I ended up like roll like 35 minutes. The guy next to me walked out over $2,000 up
There you
after
go.
my roll, and I walked up like 400 or 500 up.
There you go. He was like, oh, thank you.
Well, from where I was, because I was down a couple.
Yeah,
hundred.
right, for sure.
So I was like, so I go, Mitch, you should have because the thing is, I wasn't really betting a lot of the numbers, and the guy had money on all the numbers. And at one point, he kept like, pressing the bet.
Yep.
He had like a $80 one and a $60 one, a $70 one off of like $10 starting out. I'm like, Mitch would have made a killing on that.
Hey, Paul, what's it called? And you know what? I believe this because I walked away. If I was there, I always feel like it can change the dynamic.
I got you. I mean, craps is like a field game. It's all about energy. One game out of all of them, because craps is my favorite. Actually, you taught me how to play craps. So it was crazy to sound up in Laughlin.
Yeah.
Because that's why I play all the outsides because of this man right here. But I feel what you're saying because it's a straight energy game. I'm all about the energy and
vibe of the table.
vibe of the table, stuff like that. So if I go up there and I'm feeling it,
Oh, it's on.
It's on. You know what I'm saying? It just gets that buzz going like that. And that's the one thing that's hard about Laughlin because, like you said, it was only you and the guy at the table. It's hard to get that buzz.
Oh, me and Nick started it.
Yeah,
There was nobody at the table. Let's roll it. Yeah.
You know, but you know, you get hot, and you got sometimes you get hot, and it's only you two. But you know, I love when the table's full,
it's
and
the
you know,
funnest feeling
and
in
I
the
love when a first time like a girl comes up. You know what I'm saying? A woman comes up because it's like that lady luck, right? And,
Lady Luck or an old person.
Come up there and they throw. I'm like, because they don't know what they're doing. They're just throwing the dice. I'm like, yeah, keep going.
And I'll tell you this real quick. Do you remember, Paul, that one time I was getting my head caved in, but not too bad. It was Friday night, and I go, you know what? I'm gonna just bet another 100 real quick. You were sitting right next to me, and I'm gonna bet 100. And I take this lady, and she goes, I only have $10. You roll. And I'm like, I wasn't prepared to roll, but she let me roll. And then remember, I sat there and I just kept rolling, and then like 45 minutes later, the whole
45
table,
minutes. You got
the whole table.
I was at 45-minute roll that just go crazy. I mean, but that's what I'm saying is it was that energy from the lady saying, "Here, take mine," and then
let's go.
You like, okay,
And
you know what? She's giving me the responsibility. She got $10 on the line. Let's go.
I'll just say this. I'm not going to say what I walk with, but you saw, right? You saw, and you saw how much money I had on the table. Like, Nick, when you said that dude had 85s, I had like 125s off of $5. I kept pressing.
Yeah.
And like I had the 5 and the 9 at 125, and I had like the 4 at 125.
You know what's crazy? I mean,
you can imagine how much you take him.
And then we'll move on to that. Yeah. But you know, in craps, when you finally crap out, you realize how much money you leave
sitting on the table.
Sitting on the table. Because you can take that money. People don't realize you can take that money off the table anytime you want.
Exactly, but you just never do.
You never do because you feel like that.
It's not going to be that roll. It's going to be the next roll.
Yeah. And you feel like it's the energy you start to take away.
The second you take away, you're crapping out.
And I'll just say this. It was the greatest feeling, though, because they tip share, I guess, at the Trop when that happened.
Right.
So I go the next morning to Blackjack. And at the time, Herbert's girl, at the time, Cassie or whatever her name was, she goes, hey, Mitch, did you hear about the guy that rolled craps? All the dealers made $650 off of him. Like, so, because I kept betting that, that dude with the red hair, they kept trying to, I always have this system where I'm rolling good. I can't change it. So I'm putting them on the pass line with me, right?
Yep.
And then I'm putting them on the back. So I got $15 on them every roll, and they're taking it every time they hit. Yep. So now I put it back on because I don't want to change the vibe. Yep. And then I hit hard ways and that. So guess what? They're getting 30 on that and hard way hit. And then, and then I started putting 5s for their hard ways. They got $650 off me. So you can imagine what I made. And then the lady that had 10 goes, she had 500. So it was cool. It was the best roll I've ever had. And you were right there with me.
It was definitely a dope roll. That's one way that you can take from the casino. Another way you can take from the casino is
if you know some cyber shit.
Some cyber stuff.
Oh, let me adjust my glasses.
Well, that was a good segue.
Yeah. But no,
Hey, how long did did you just come off cusp with that?
I go off the cusp, baby. You set me up for that.
What's
like
in that glass, man? He might be microdosing. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
You like that.
I like the movie Limitless.
But no, MGM just got cyber hacked. A couple weeks before this, what was it? Caesars Palace got threatened for a cyber attack, but they ended up paying $15 million.
Yeah, they paid half of the $30 million that the criminals were asking for. But the crazy thing is it didn't come out till after the MGM hack happened. So MGM Sunday started having issues. I guess they knew about the hack, that these people were threatening them. They wanted X amount of dollars, or they were going to basically shut them down and release information. MGM refused to pay. And since Sunday, MGM has been in all their properties across the country have been basically shut down. All their computer systems were down. ATMs didn't work, slot machines didn't work. A lot of them are just saying out of order or out of service. The keys to get into the elevators didn't work. Your room keys, the digital room keys didn't work. You had to have a hard key. The ATMs in the payment, credit card payment processing for all the hotels was down, so everything was cash only. They were checking in people by hand with a notepad and also writing down their credit card information on a sheet to basically old school manual process of checking people in. So
wow.
And that's all their casinos across the country were affected.
And all
all their
casinos
not just Vegas.
Not just Vegas, New York, think they said Michigan, wherever MGM has properties, all of them were affected.
And parking was free, by the way, because they couldn't charge.
Yeah, they couldn't get the gates to work, so they had to lock the gates open so that people could come in and out of parking. And they ain't giving anything up for free, but I heard a thing, someone
So, Nick,
estimated that they're losing $15 million a day in gambling because people can't gamble.
So, Nick, how much was your group asking for?
Well, I heard on Caesars they were asking for $30 million.
Oh, you're not claiming to be part of that
No,
cyber group?
but I'm definitely not claiming that. I wouldn't be on this podcast if I just got 15 mil. Trust me on that one. You'd see a new greedy guy here. Greedy Tim. He'd be sitting in my seat, and I'd be on the beach somewhere. But, so I'm guessing MGM's a little bit bigger than Caesars from what I understand. I'm guessing they asked for more. And I guess MGM decided they were like, on the TV show, we don't negotiate with terrorists.
Right.
And the terrorists won apparently. So
Well, for right now, I don't care what they say. It's still. I'm not going to use the M word, but it's they're still protected. I should say like that. And so, I mean, these cyber guys got to be careful because.
If it really happened.
Hold on. Okay, you bringing up an.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
Is this a coincidence here?
I don't know. I'm just saying.
Coincidence theory?
Let's put people. I mean, again, I'm not going to go out in the statement and say this, but my own brain says
Okay.
there could be many reasons. Maybe they are going to tell a story of things to come. Like, oh wow, the grid went down. Oh, the hackers, the cyber people. Or maybe you lost your pension. Whatever. Like, I don't know. I think that day is coming. Where both the grid's going to go down for however long, and then also, people are going to lose shit. I hate to be that way, but, and then conveniently the digital dollar will come in and save the day for everybody, right?
Well, the digital dollar is, can be hacked. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's why cold hard cash is where it's at. I know we're trying to go, towards a cashless society, which is crazy to me. I love having cash in my pocket, even though I don't have it that much. But, I love having the crisp $100 bill in my pocket compared to a hard ass plastic. But
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Plus you can track it a little better, unless you're drinking the night, and then the next day you wake up, you go, where the hell's my money? Half of it's crinkled, some of it's in the shoe. You don't know where it's at.
the crazy part is, MGM owns like half the casinos on the Strip, it seems
Right.
like. And for all of them to be down all at the same time, like I said, it was estimated that they're losing like upwards of $15 million a day and $3 million in just straight cash.
I'm hoping they get.
And it's
this
been
stuff
Sunday, so you're saying Sunday, Monday,
Right.
Tuesday, you're going into, Wednesday,
They would
Thursday.
have been smarter to pay the ransom.
Oh, yeah, but the thing is, at some point, somebody's got to take a stand because if everybody just
happens
pays,
again.
they're just going to keep.
But they have insurance. So the insurance company,
Exactly.
the insurance
Exactly.
company, going to pay them back out. So they're not really worried on that. They ain't really worried about their policy going up and all that stuff like that.
There's good money in cyber insurance, by the way.
Is there?
Oh, really good money.
There's good money in casinos too.
There is.
Ooh, I might have to look inside. It's a little opportunity there, Nick.
And organized crime.
Whoa, slow down now. Slow down.
I'm just stating facts.
We don't know who watches this podcast right here. Okay, all this is for entertainment purposes. Yeah, my shit.
All the opinions here are that of Mitch and Mitch alone.
Well, if we're going off of my opinion, then why doesn't somebody hack and get the Vegas shooter video?
Hey, that is MGM.
Yeah.
Mandalay Bay.
Maybe.
Maybe they'll release the tapes.
Well, all I got to say is get your shit together because I'm there next week and I need everything to be in order by the time I get there. That's all I'm saying.
I'm going to say, Paul, bring cash.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna
Bring cash.
I'm definitely gonna have some cash in it. What else is in the news that we need to talk about though, other than this cyber hacking?
Well, it looks like someone might be getting punked.
Yeah, or something,
something.
or something going on because
I know Ashton Kutcher's name got drugged in the mud.
yes, exactly.
Yeah, that Danny Masterson was finally, his trial was finally completed. They sentenced him to 30 years in prison for a couple of rape convictions of a former girlfriend and
gracious.
2 other girls.
I know we discussed that on the show.
We've discussed that already.
Church of Scientology and all that stuff.
He's involved in Scientology, but his girlfriend, Chrissy Bixler, that was one of the, defendants, she posted something, and I think Mitch is going to have that up.
This is crazy.
But she basically is calling out Ashton Kutcher for, just being just as sick as Danny Masterson. So
I mean, she says straight up, she goes, and this is what she posted. Dear Ashton, I know the secrets your role model keeps for you, the ones that would end you. Did you forget? I was there. You were on speakerphone that night. You called Danny on February 21st, 2001. I heard everything. I heard the plan. In my opinion, just as sick as your mentor.
Wow. All right. So Nick, kind of put into context what happened in February now.
So I didn't know, and I started hearing some stuff, so I had to look it up. February 21st, 2001, a female named Ashley Ellerin was killed. Strange thing was Ashton Kutcher was supposed to go on a date with her that night, and
take her to some Hollywood party.
Yeah, take her to some Hollywood party. Well, he showed up at her house and allegedly knocked on the door and looked inside and saw what he thought was a bunch of spilt wine, and thought he was getting stood up. So supposedly he just left. And one of the things that he said that was, when I heard it, I was like, this is kind of strange. He told the police that he was worried because his fingerprints were all over the doorknob because he checked the door to see if it was locked, which didn't make any sense. Yeah. And the craziest part is he was never a suspect, and they never accused him of anything. And they didn't really even look into it. And from my understanding at that time, with Church of Scientology and their pull kind of in L.A., that, you know, detectives would maybe do some cleaning up for Church of Scientology members whenever they were in trouble. So that's all alleged, but I mean, it's pretty crazy.
Is Ashton Kutcher still part of the Church of Scientologists? Did we know that?
I don't know if he ever directly was or not, but Masterson definitely was. And,
okay, gotcha.
And, you know, him and
so you think he put in a phone call to Masterson? I mean, this is all allegedly.
Yeah, and here's the crazy part: like him and Masterson were such good friends that Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis wrote a letter of, basically saying that, oh no, he's a good guy, to the courts.
Yeah. Right.
And then he gets convicted, and then they have to backtrack and go, oh, we didn't know.
Right.
You know, it's kind of crazy too, because, you know, Ashton Kutcher has come under fire with this right now, but there are also some people, like in the conspiracy world, are saying, you know, he's one of the psyops because he's come out and says, you know, all his children groups to find the children type stuff. I will say this. It didn't make sense to me when, you know, that movie came out about 4 months ago, you know, with the child trafficking and stuff, and then he was in videos going.
So what's it called? What's that thing called? Call of Freedom or something like that?
Good.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I keep seeing it pop up on my things to watch, but I haven't watched it yet. You said you saw that, right?
I saw it. Yeah.
We discussed it.
Should we discuss it?
I know we did, but should I?
Yeah,
should I watch it?
Yeah.
I mean, is it a good watch or no?
It's put it this way, the reality, because it's real, and then they even have real footage at the end, makes it a worth watch. If I'm judging it just on the movie, it's like a B-list or C-list Netflix movie.
Okay.
You know, I mean, just because it's predictable.
Okay.
But I mean, if you take into account it's a real story and it really happened, and there's a lot of background on that too. We touched on that a little bit. I'm going to stay off of it on this, but with that said, Ashton has a group. You know, he has like basically a children's group for trafficked children, and you know he was on on video saying that the government's reaching out to him to help find missing kids and all this stuff. So it's just very interesting. That this is popping up, and then also people are bringing up that when he was on the '70s show and he was making out with Mila Kunis, who's now his girlfriend or fiance,
His wife. Yeah.
His wife. Sorry,
She was only 14 at the time, and he was like
14.
19 or 20.
Yeah.
And him and Masterson had bets that he could tongue kiss her during the scene and different things like that.
Yeah.
And she had never kissed a guy before because she was only 14 at the time.
Yeah.
So just some crazy weird
Background stuff
between all of them, and then they end up married, which is weird after everything. And yeah, I don't know. It's definitely just a weird situation.
And if you want to throw in another curveball, Ashton dated Brittany Murphy, who ended up dying in the bathtub. And I'm not trying to say that's all Ashton doing, but just weird stuff. Some weird stuff.
The way y'all making it sound like Ashton Kutcher just serial killer. He out here just knifing people, getting away with it.
Well, I'm not saying that.
Hey, OJ got away with it. Why not Ashton?
Hey, put it this way.
Hey, allegedly.
And actually, just so.
Hey, listen, the glove don't fit. It doesn't fit.
And if we're talking about the courts, first of all, on the killer of Miss Ellerin, it was supposedly the Hollywood Ripper, Michael Gargiulo or something, and he was sentenced to death in July of 2021. He's currently still waiting, execution.
He's still on death row?
Yeah.
And he's also being looked at for like another murder or two as well in some other states.
Did he ever confess? Do we know?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay.
But there were 2 other deaths, if I'm not mistaken, or 1 other death.
It'd be interesting if he came out and said, you know what, I did all this, but that one I didn't do.
But
And supposedly Ashton Kutcher testified against him. So
here's one thing that's interesting though, real quick, and okay, so you have a date, right? You're going to a Hollywood function,
Right.
Okay, This is 2001, so I think that 70s show was just kind of coming up, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, Punk wasn't out yet, so he didn't kind of get the apex of where he was at. But so he goes to her house. I think he said that she wasn't answering. It wasn't, it was supposed to be 9:30, so he shows up at 10 or 10:30. I can't remember exactly. I remember when I originally heard this, I said it didn't add up to me. It sounded funny, but that's all I thought. Now it kind of is very interesting, with this other, these allegations that girl was there when it happened. And I'll counterpoint this in a second too, just so we get both sides.
Right.
But okay, you're going on to, the girl's not answering the phone. You go to her house. You look in the window. You see what you think is wine.
Right.
So you go, let me try and get in the house. I try to open the door.
Right.
It doesn't work. What, go around the backyard, check
Yeah,
other
you
stuff.
start checking the window. That's what I would do. Because obviously you're trying to get in the house.
You're trying to get in the house.
You're trying to see if she's
But then,
okay.
yeah, and if you're seeing there's a bunch of spilled wine,
Yeah.
well, maybe she's had a slip and fall.
Yeah, maybe she's hurt.
hurt.
Yeah, maybe she's drunk. Or, maybe at a certain point, that's not wine.
Yeah.
Like, come on. If you see a bunch of red on the floor, again, that sounds cute and all, but again, there's other options besides wine.
Right.
It's just crazy. So it just sounds weird. And then putting his hand on the door, and then the next day calling the police and saying, "Oh, by the way, this is what happened."
Right.
And either the Masterson's girl, is crazy. But obviously Masterson got convicted of it.
Right.
Of what she claimed. But my next question is, why did she sit on this?
Right.
Okay, at a certain point, if this was the case, also, she doesn't sound too credible, or it doesn't sound like a great person holding this information.
Yeah, but she also didn't come out with the Masterson accusations till way later after they happened. So,
so
maybe she, sometimes it takes a lot to come out and say something, and maybe after he got convicted, she felt like she was finally safe because he wasn't going to be able to come after her or send people after her. So now she felt like she could talk on other stuff too. I don't know.
Well,
It's hard to say.
I'd love to see what that other stuff is, but we'll have to wait to see. But talking about kids and stuff like that, it comes up. Me and you have kids and stuff like that. Nick,
We do?
Nick works.
I'm sure.
You better stop.
I'm
You got a beautiful daughter. Get it.
Of course. Shout out to
Shout out to Mish's daughter. Hold on.
Honestly.
Give it up for the kids. Paul's kids are cool too.
Yeah. All my kids, they dope like their daddy. But anyway, parenting, man. I was, I talk to a few people, now and again, and we talk about parenting as far as like today's, parents compared to when we were growing up, you know what I'm saying? And we're talking about as far as like, spanking a kid, putting them in timeout, gentle parenting, stuff like that. I kind of wanted to touch on this a little bit because, I have a different perspective on, parenting now and back when we were growing up. I think there's a direct correlation. I might get some blowback on this, but I think there's a direct correlation with us, what I call being, I'm not going to call it sissified, but
I call it the pussification of America.
thank you.
Or like Peter
I'll
used to
say
say,
it.
bitch
I'll say
assness.
Yeah.
Bitch assness.
So basically, we're getting we got to tiptoe around everything, and we can't, we have to call, things they, him, she, all these, adjectives, verbs, all this other shit.
Simon Says rules.
Yeah, that I can't figure out, save my life. And I also, and my argument was, I believe it all comes from parenting. Is back in the day, we should get spanked. I mean, I know some of my cousins, even myself, we'd have to go pick a switch off the tree, get our butts spanked. You know what I'm saying?
You're at a racing car track.
Or a belt, something like that. And now that would be considered
Wooden spoon.
Child abuse and stuff like that. But for me, that actually taught me discipline. I was more, when my mom spoke and my dad spoke, their words, carried a lot of weight with me. And, I wasn't like a perfect kid, but I would only fuck up to a point, you know what I'm saying? Where, I feel like this gentle parenting and stuff like that, and, these kids talking back.
And participation trophies.
Yeah, it just, like I said, it's weakness. I don't know. How do you guys feel about it?
1,000% agree, but I'll also say I think it's also a plan to have done it on purpose too. I'll go one step further. I know people are going to be upset, but taking God out of schools. And again, before everybody gets mad, don't get mad about, God. I mean, because here's the thing. It's on the back of our dollar, too, but nobody seems to have a problem with that.
Right.
But,
God we trust.
Yeah, but the funny part is I also say that the people that run this world, I like to question what God are they talking about.
Right.
Because if you look at the back of the dollar, all the symbolism there, from the little hidden owl to whatever else, to the phoenix, to the, everything else, just does not feel like the God I know, or I believe in. But either way, you take God out of the schools, then guess what? There's no conscience anymore. So I think it's all part of everything. I think it's all part of a plan to get people to break agendas, to break away from structure, especially spiritual structure. And again, if you think, if you have any idea, or you have an idea that the people that run the world in the highest places are, occultish of nature, or maybe believe in certain things. I mean, damn, if you look in the Bohemian Grove, they did go over there and worship an owl, which is supposedly Moloch, I mean, I'm talking some of the biggest people in the world, the presidents, everything like that. If we don't at least question what the hell is going on, I mean, that's on us,
Right. Now, Nick, so let me pose this question to you. So, I mean, you have, you're pretty serious with your girl. I mean, you guys don't have kids yet.
She has a kid, though.
Yeah, I know she has a kid, but, if you guys have a kid together.
Yes.
I'm doing this for you, Earl.
You dropping names again?
Hey, Little Mermaid.
He named names.
I said I whispered it.
Shout out to the Little Mermaid.
Hold on, what'd you say her name was?
I whispered it. Nobody,
Like I said, don't commit a crime with Paul.
nobody heard it. Anyway, let me go back to it. No, you guys are possibly thinking about having a kid down the road, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so, it's kind of different when, her kid is not yours, right? But
Yeah.
then if you guys have one together, how are you going to discipline your son or your daughter? Do you agree in the spanking method? Do you agree in the gentle
Absolutely
parenting?
agree with spanking.
Right.
When I was a kid, and I was a good kid, but I got into
But he
some
spanked it
trouble.
a lot.
I got into some trouble. So one of the things that was like a big push back when I was in junior high and high school was what they call tough love. So it was like you have to give them tough love. So if your kid wants to act up and he wants to do whatever, then you do this. And if your kid wants to come home late, then you lock him out and he sleeps on the porch that night. And until they get to the point where there's consequences for everything they do. Right. I think the problem now is those consequences are they're false. You tell a kid, hey, if you do this, I'm going to take your video game away, and then 10 minutes later you cave and they're allowed to play their video game again. There's no consequence for anything people do now. And I think, and you talk, and I call it the pussification of America. What it really is it's, you blend the genders, so everybody's kind of effeminate, and then you soften them up. They don't get in, you don't allow them to fight. You give them any physical harm. They can't tackle anymore. They can't, you can't roughhouse in sports because it's all you could hurt somebody. You can't play dodgeball at school anymore because the weaker kids could get hurt. And you basically blend everything so everybody's kind of, it's almost like an attack on the manly man, the strong, the tough guy.
Oh, that's been around, yeah.
That's been around.
Without doubt.
But what that does is, if you think about it, you think about guys like Pat Tillman and guys that are like tough guys that are like, I'll go to war, I'll fight for this country. Mm-hmm. Well, when you don't have that, there's nobody that's going to put up an opposition other than, oh, we'll go and march and we'll hold up signs and we'll boycott. But
Well, kumbaya.
But when it comes to violence, I'm out.
Let me just say this. Sounds like the same thing they did to the Black Panthers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like get them hooked on heroin and drugs and infiltrate stuff. And again, it's a formula that seems like a certain group of people, our government,
Well, I think they've been doing this for multiple.
Oh, it's a playbook.
Decades.
And it's not even.
And every year it just gets a little bit further to the point where nothing makes sense anymore. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you can't touch your kid. I see these kids talking back. I'll tell you this story. I was at Disneyland probably like 4 or 5 years ago, and I saw this little kid. He's like 7 or 8 years old. Literally grab his mom and start kicking her in the shins because she wouldn't let him ride a ride. And he's sitting there just kicking her. And the grandma's like, oh, just let him go on the ride. So he calms down. And I'm like, the kid's literally abusing his mom, and his mom won't do anything. And the grandma's over there saying, oh, just let him ride. instead of like taking the kid and whooping them in front of everybody
Right.
and teaching them a lesson, just letting them get away with just kicking her to where she's like rubbing her leg after and she's in pain, and then the grandma takes the kid and goes on the ride.
It's crazy.
And it's like, what are you telling your kid? Like, if I just act up and do what I want, eventually I'm going to get what I want. And that wasn't how I was raised. I knew if I got out of line, my mom would hit me with a wooden spoon, or my dad would come home and beat me with the belt. And there's a difference, and I know there's a fine line between discipline and abuse.
Yes.
And where does you draw that line? But you have to have some level of discipline. I mean, my parents told me, back when they went to school, the teachers used to be able to hit the kids. And they can't do that no more. Now the teacher can't even talk back to a kid.
Right.
They end up on YouTube,
Let me add something too, because when this rule first came out, and we were kind of young adults, I believe, when it came out, or adults. I sat there and I said, you know what, this is so stupid because one, you are taking away. Okay, in most cases, okay. I mean, obviously, if you punch a kid or whatever, like the Bernie Mac joke, punch him in the throat or whatever. But I mean, like I'm saying, like there's certain repercussions. The cops get called type stuff, obviously, and should be deservedly. But we're talking spankings, we're talking disciplines, we're talking teaching a lesson. Like we said, it affects how they are in life going forward. It affects what they fear, what they don't. I also think fear of God is the same thing too, in its own way. It's like if you don't fear. Like if you don't
fear your parents,
you don't fear your parents. If you don't fear an afterlife of maybe you're jeopardizing that, you're going to be like these crazy kids that go out and that seem soulless. And then let me add one more though.
it's a healthy fear, though.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's a healthy fear because it puts you in check.
Right.
It makes you question things and go, well, is this worth it? And at least there's a question of it instead of just F it, let's do it.
Right.
And that's where you see all this crazy shit that's going on, in all these videos now. But with that said, I also think there's another counterpoint, which can be much worse, but nobody ever talks about it. So we can't spank our kids, but we can talk down to them, we can talk shit, we can call them dummies and idiots and that. And I actually think that is actually worse than a spanking or, being punished physically.
What do you say, verbal abuse?
Verbal abuse, exactly. Because that, trauma, I know there's supposed to be sticks and stones, can break my bones, words could never hurt me. That's bullshit.
I think it's the opposite.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I think the verbal and the emotional abuse is way more.
Oh, yeah, people can carry that with them the rest of their lives.
You brought up a great point. There's you can't go overboard with the spanking and stuff like that because then it becomes abuse. But you got, as they would say, you got to put that lightning in that butt a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I think that's, and I will tell you because my sister has 3 kids and she struggles with this. I know a little bit, and you look at someone like Adrian Peterson, like sometimes you're just in the heat of the moment. You might hit him just a little bit too hard and break the skin, or hit him a little bit too hard and do something you weren't meaning to, but you're caught up in the emotion too when you're doing it, and you're way bigger than your kids, and you're way stronger than your kids. So it's tough, but there has to be regulated discipline, I will say.
Right. I mean,
you can't just allow people to just go to town and pull out a belt and beat their kids black and blue every time they act up.
How many times your mama say, "This gonna hurt me, white boy? It's gonna hurt you"?
Hey, I will tell you that. I mean, I had friends that showed up to school with black eyes because their parents punched them out because they were getting in bad trouble, and I mean, stuff like that happened. And it's, do I think their parents were child abusers? No, I think sometimes they probably deserved it.
Right.
But I mean, did they cross the line sometimes as well? Yeah, I think they did.
Right. I was fortunate. Me and my ex-wife were on the same page, and one story that I remember to this day, and I always tell it, is we were in Target, and my son. This is and this is what I'm talking about. Is my son had a healthy fear of both of his parents, especially his mama, and he started acting up in the aisle, and started to throw a fit and screaming, and she grabbed him by his arm and popped him on the butt. This lady comes around the corner. Well, she had seen him from the edge of the aisle and said, "You shouldn't be spanking your kids." And she told the lady, "You shut the hell up." She's like, "I'm doing this so he won't be climbing through your window when he's 18. And then she shut up. But guess what? My son ain't never acted up at the store ever again.
He's a gentleman.
That's what I'm saying. And it was that time he knew, if I act like this, I'm going to get these repercussions.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? I just don't think kids got repercussions.
They're not afraid of anything.
They ain't afraid of anything. Exactly. What are they going to be afraid of? Well, I'm going to sit in the corner for 5 minutes and then you
I actually think parents are more afraid than the kids. The parents are afraid their kid's going to go to school the next day and tell their teacher that their dad hit them with a belt, and then CPS is showing up at their house.
Yeah, I don't know. We gotta change this narrative. But all right, we come to the end of the show. You know what we always do.
Yep. Thought of the day.
Greedy.
I'm gonna go first.
Hey, you should go first.
Yeah, I'm gonna go first.
I think you should talk about something specific.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk about something. No, but we talk about a lot of stuff on this podcast, and
That was a great thought.
this is a safe spot for us to just be ourselves and talk about things, and
Right.
and things we say, people on the outside aren't always gonna agree with, and that's okay. And one thing we try to do is we try to show that you can have three different people, three different walks of life, come together and be able to discuss topics and not make it into an argument and not get heated, not yell at each other, and not assume what you're saying is just take it to the negative all the time. And we had a discussion last week about the swinging lifestyle, I'll say, and me and Mitch kind of just took slightly different approaches to what we were talking about it. And, maybe what I said was construed as something that it shouldn't have been. So at the end of the day, we're doing this for entertainment. This isn't like the end all be all, but, if anybody took it and construed it another way, I'm not looking to be a swinger, just so everybody knows. I'm not looking to have any kind of
Nick ain't the one. He ain't the freak out of the whole group.
I have a girl that makes me happy, that I'm in love with,
Oh, you better give him some love tonight.
yeah,
too.
I'm going to. I'm
You
gonna
do?
give her applause too. She's a great girl.
Yes.
And we've had our struggles over time, but I think we worked through it, and we're in a good spot. And I didn't want it to come across like I'm looking to get crazy, because my crazy times are well behind me. I'm pushing midlife, and yeah, I'm not in the same place that maybe other people at this table are. So that's all I'm gonna say.
Shots fired. I don't give a fuck.
Hey.
I'll take that.
You know what though? I didn't name names.
Shout out to the Little Mermaid.
Mitchell, you got something for me?
Yeah, no, that's gonna be okay. So it seems like there's this pattern again. You get up there in age or whatever else, and you start seeing people, unfortunately passing away. But it's sad when you see different age groups. People younger than you. Recently, a few different friends. I think I talked about that about 3 or 4 shows ago. I had one of my college roommates. His mom passed last week. And then one of my boys that grew up on the block, he used to play ball, big time basketball player. He was about 4 years older than me. I just noticed a couple of days ago, his wife passed. And so I'm reading, all the posts, and he's coping with it on, so my prayers, thoughts, prayers, positive vibes go out to him, his wife, his family, and everything. But it's, it's crazy, like he made a post, he put this post up, and I'm not going to read his personal words, but he put this other phrase. I mean, it's something we've all kind of thought about and said, but I think sometimes we need that reminder. And what he put was, one day you're going to hug your last hug, you're going to kiss your last kiss, you're going to hear someone's voice for the last time, but you never know when the last time will be. So live every day as if it were the last time you'll be with that person you love. And that really hit.
Deep. That's dope. That's dope. Mine is kind of like, I wouldn't say like personal reflection, but basically kind of going, not on that, but I saw a post today from a good friend of mine, and it kind of hit home for me. It's like when you're healing, do it in private, but also embrace it. So, but on the outside, show everybody a positive. So don't feel bad about if you're going through stuff and you're, taking one day at a time healing. That's just a process, and embrace the process. But first and foremost, remember, you are the blessing. You are number one. Everybody else comes second, okay? So love yourself first, then everybody else. But on that note, we out of here. 210. See you next week. Mwah.